Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, guys, this is from the Acropolis in Athens, Parthenon, Greece, November the 12th, 2016. I thought I'd actually make this the prologue to a segment dedicated to An-Najm al-Thaqib, the star with piercing brightness, the one referred to in the Qalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah An-Najm, and I believe it's the same star being alluded towards in Surah Tariq as well, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. This star seems to be the primary star, the proton neutron star, specifically the one that's sharing a barycenter with our sun, and it seems to be the central star to this binary system that seems to have entered our solar system. Now we're going to watch this together, and I'll show you many segments. All of this whole vlog is dedicated to this one star, or at least anomalies in the sky that seem to be associated with this star. Okay, what you're going to see right now, what you see in the heavens right now, is the sort of light that we would expect to see from our sun, which is white with a kind of yellow halo around it, right? A yellowness about it. You're going to see that switch in a second to a very bright white and a blue. And this is what I saw in my dream. Subhanallah, there you go. Did you see that? Bright white and a blue tinge around it. So from a yellow, a very warm white yellow, to a piercing white with a blue halo around it. Now this is the sort of light that I saw in the star that I saw in my dream on Yom Arafah, with the two celestial, the red and the blue celestial body tailing it. This is the light that was emanating from that star. And to see how it is switching over. Now you might say this isn't conclusive evidence of two separate light sources, but what you're going to see is this is, like I just showed you, this was in Greece and it was on the 12th of November. Now I'm going to show you some other corroborating evidence in a different part of the globe, which is very similar. Now this is where now the light is basically merging now with the sun, with our sun. So you've got two sources of light now. Initially it was our sun, then it got obscured by the light of this bright star. Now it seems that two light sources are merging and entering our atmosphere. And then at some point, the technology they're using to simulate our sun and cloak it, basically steps in, right, and does what it does. So I mean, this is a really interesting capture. You see them going through, and this was just very recent. And I thought this was reason enough for me to kind of do maybe perhaps a vlog dedicated to this one star itself, and quite rightly so, because it seems to be the primary star of this system, and it's light source is coming from the same direction as our sun. As far as the red dwarf star is concerned, its light source generally either comes from behind us, opposite the sun, or maybe to the right of the sun. And we've seen that in the Brazilian um, um, cameras that I've shared with you guys as well, the footage from the oceans there. Anyway, we're going to move on from that, and let me show you the next piece of evidence. Okay, so let's take a look at, I'll come to the star itself in a second, but I want you to see these things. Now, as you can see, this was posted by me on the 4th of October. Okay, now let's take a look at this. Mexico, it's a different location again. Of this binary system, and that these stars are parked very close next to our sun and maybe wreaking havoc on us. Okay, I'm going to leave the commentary on, so I guess I won't say anything, and I'll just let you listen in on this one. Our sun as we speak, and draining its source of energy up until they basically leave that trajectory, and that magnetic hold has dwindled and waned. Anyway, let's take a look at the footage, and I guess you can draw your own conclusions off the back of it. Now you can see the source of light is very similar to what the source of light that our sun generally provides us, which is bright with some yellow tinge to it. What you're going to see is that source of light change considerably. Right, now you can see the redness coming up from below it. Right, now our sun's to the left, the redness to the right. Okay, that's the red dwarf star as far as I'm concerned. And at the top left, let's go back again. Subhanallah, there you go. That's the proton-neutron star with its blue haze. This is the red dwarf star. And that's our sun. And all of them are parked next to each other. Okay, so our sun, the proton-neutron star, and Najm Thaaqib, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. And this is the red dwarf star, which is a binary star to this star, the primary star. This is why I call the system a binary system, simply because it's got two stars accompanying it, right? And it's binary to our sun. This star shares a barycenter with our sun, which is An-Najm Thaaqib, okay? And this is the one that they're trying to occlude right now using lenses so that they shift the focal point of this system in our atmosphere. And this happens to be, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best, is the red dwarf star. And then these two stars have got other celestial bodies as well as comet debris and asteroid debris following them. At least this is what we understand, and this is what I've understood from all the research I've done and everything that I've collated and archived on the channel, along with what I've posted and laid out in the PDF science, the PDF document, which could be also found on the channel as well. I mean, the red dwarf star, actually, look, this corroborates the evidence of the red dwarf star in Brazil, where it's a reasonable distance between from our sun itself. And you'll find from the upload that I uploaded not so long ago, our sun was parked up over here, and the red dwarf star was rising just above the mountain landscape on the right hand side on that upload. And then what we've suggested is the sun is the proton star, the neutron star, which I've been claiming for quite a while now, is parked close to our sun simply because it shares a barycenter, B-A-R-Y center, with our sun, which is a gravitational center. And because it's the stronger star of the three stars, right, it basically is, and then the sun being the second strongest, they have a closer barycenter because our sun is basically the star of our system, our solar system, whereas this proton star is the central star to this other binary system that's come in. So they both have got a very close proximity to one another at the moment. When this proton star, and it seems like it's moving further and further away from our sun, which is worrying again, because that basically indicates that it's out on its trajectory. Where my cursor is, that's where the proton star seems to be. It's certainly at close proximity with our sun, and this is the dwarf star that I mentioned, okay, which right now has been ignited and maybe lit up by the energy that it's taken from our sun and drawn from our sun. Again, this star apparently did require during its incoming passage, required infrared telescopes in order to be able to view it. Hence why you've got the telescope commissioned by the Vatican, which is aptly named Lucifer, astaghfirullah, in the Arctic. Position there so that they could have a better view whilst it was coming in. Don't forget, it was coming from below the ecliptic, and it comes in an elliptical orbit. And then chances are what's going to happen is this proton star is going to go up and then down, which again interestingly corroborates the at least it has a distinct similarity to the account in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, by the star as it goes down. We won't get to see this until it's out on its trajectory, and chances are we'll see it come from our horizon, go down back into its trajectory where it came from, which is below our orbit.
Um, it seems that if we were, let's just in terms of the model, just so that we can get the model in our understand the model in our mind's eye. Think of the solar system on a horizontal plane, and this star and its celestial companion celestial bodies are basically going down in a vertical plane to our horizontal plane. And right now it's above our sun. You can see it slightly above to the 1 o'clock position as it does its cycle.
So right now, let's just say, for argument's sake, and some of you may have studied right now, especially with the supermoon that's scheduled to happen tomorrow. And interesting enough, as it happens, that supermoon that's happening tomorrow is the first one in 70 years. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best how accurate that summary is. But what is interesting is what's causing it, and why are we seeing a supermoon that's significantly large. It is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and there's many variables that causes a supermoon. And I had one of my viewers, mashallah, ask me the same question as to why this happens. Well, there's many variables, and one of which is the oceans from planet Earth. Our oceans have a magnetic attraction with our moon, and the moon actually impacts the tides and the oceans. Also, in addition to that, our magnetic field. Then its orbit itself. I mean, in fact, its orbit is dictated because of these variables. But then there's also the influence of the planetary alignment and the celestial bodies within our solar system. And then there's the sun itself and its magnetic field, as well as its gravitational influence. And now what you've got, in addition to that, is a whole new binary system which has two stars and other celestial bodies. At least if I was a betting man, I'd say there's two other gas giants that has accompanied this binary system, along with other moons and comets, and all those other variables have been thrown into the pot, as it were. So if you can imagine, with all these variables and all these influences, magnetic and gravitational influences, is it any reason why we're going to experience a full moon tomorrow? And then we've got all these earthquakes and other anomalies and the frequencies of earthquakes, as well as volcanic eruptions, and a lot of comet debris. In fact, we've hit all-time records in terms of everything: extreme climate to flash floods, to droughts, and the oceans warming up. The Arctic ice and the vortices in the north and the west for the first time merging with the equator, and if anything, mixing with both poles, and then our poles shifting as well. And there's so many other things. But I mean, certainly these they would be the usual suspects. Who you could basically attribute to this phenomenon to that we're going to experience tomorrow, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best again.
And that magnetic hold with our sun dwindles. It will go out in its trajectory, so it'll go up and then down. And whilst it's going down, chances are it's going to go past us it's going to go past Earth quite close. And when it does do that, that's when we're expecting again the extreme natural disasters to occur, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. But again, you can see the light source here. There you go, subhanallah, and it's the very same star that I saw in my dream. You know, it was blue, it was bright, it had a blue haze around it. And this is, look, this account, look at it, subhanallah. You know, okay, let's go back again. Let's just go back again. I want you guys to look at the date over here, and I couldn't have made this up. It was 2016 on the 10th of, October, the 2nd of October at 8 p.m. And my account of my dream was uploaded on the day of Yom Arafah. And I was very clear. I don't think I minced my words at all when I said it was a bright star, the brightness of it was very bright, brighter than our sun, right? And now if you look at the three sources of light in our horizon right now, as they come up, subhanallah, you'll see that that source of light is the brightest of the three. And in the hypothesis, I mentioned that if there was a tier system of stars, then this star, the proton-neutron star, would basically be at the top of the tier. Then it would be followed by our sun, and then the dwarf star, right, which is at the bottom of the order of stars. In terms of its strength, its magnetic influence, its gravitational pull, and the nuclear fusion that occurs within its core. It's not as active as the other stars are. So, I mean, it's at the bottom of the pecking order, whereas the sun basically is central to this pecking order. And this star, the proton-neutron star, is at the top of that, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best.
Okay guys, now I'm going to take you to some other material, otherwise we're going to be here all day. Let me switch that off. Okay, now let's take a look at this. This seems to be the same star again, but there's clouds surrounding it.
I'm just driving. And can you see that we've got two very distinct and different sources of light in the sky? It must be quite a surreal experience as you're driving down the motorway and seeing this. I can only imagine what the drivers were thinking when they were seeing it. So,
okay guys, now that seems to be the same star, and this was uploaded again okay, on the 4th of September. Right, now I'm going to move you on very quickly to this particular upload, and this upload was uploaded on the 27th of August. Okay,
right into the sky, and there was a celestial object near our sun, the sun having a yellow halo around it, and this other star had this blue halo around it. The sun, the rays coming out of the sun were in a cross fashion, the alphabetical cross, whereas the blue star coming out from behind the sun in that particular footage had a cross, biblical cross, coming out of it in rays, and that's the basically evidence I was trying to put forward.
Okay, what you're going to see, guys, over here is a reflection of what this photographer. She's actually a photographer and a very, very capable one, and she's been taking photographs of our sun since as far as childhood memory takes her back. And what she has said is, this has never happened, and she understands. In fact, she did a very detailed vlog on lenses and how they basically react to the sun when images and pictures of the sun are taken. At any rate, what you've seen over here is the same. I mean, there's one taking the pointing the camera at the sky and seeing two stars. One is our sun, of course, and then there's Najm Thaaqib. But then straight away pointing that camera on the window, as it were, and over here you can see the refraction. But there you go, you can actually see very clearly. In a second you'll see it momentarily.
As it being a different celestial body and not...
And look, you can see the two refractions as well of two different celestial bodies.
A reflection of the sun, otherwise the rays would have been exactly the same. What's interesting over here is...
There you go, look. There's two celestial bodies and their refractions can be seen.
You actually see the reflection of that celestial body on the window pane as well, right? And then you'll see that individual turn right to the sky, okay? The camera's going to turn any moment now to the sky, and you'll see another celestial body, clear as day, in the sky for all to see. Subhanallah, it's stunning footage, mashallah, and again, it corroborates all these other claims and findings and evidence that's surfacing worldwide from different locations where people are seeing this star. It's becoming more and more obvious Just look at this individual. They'll point to the reflection of what's been seen in the window, just not the
you can even distinctly see how the light of our sun is very different to the light over here. Now, this particular object is being cloaked and occluded, but despite it being cloaked and occluded, it's still being seen, at least now. But I think they perfected their craft a little bit more now, where it's much more difficult to see it.
sky. There you go. And now they'll turn the camera towards the sky, and you see exactly the same. There's no CGI here. This is just raw footage. You can't really mess about with CGI and produce these sort of effects.
There you go. You see that? If it was a lens flare, that would not have happened, because you've got the other sun. Certainly, it's been taken off simply because it's come to an end, right? The glass pane has come to an end. So what you've got here is the other celestial body next to the sun being seen. Now, had this been a refraction, then the second this had disappeared, so would have this. But because it's an actual celestial body that's being reflected from the skies onto the window, right, which is next to the sun, that's why we're seeing it. Otherwise, had it just been a refraction of the sun itself, then as soon as the sun disappeared, so would have this.
These sort of effects. You'll see that right now. It's just
look, both of them are
very
there.
clear.
Subhanallah.
Anyway, again, this augments and supports these claims. All these other individuals world over picking this up. We'll turn to the sky any moment now. Right? And yet there's still two celestial bodies in the heavens. SubhanAllah. I'm just waiting for them to turn the camera on. There we have it. SubhanAllah. And there we have it. SubhanAllah.
There you go, guys. Subhanallah, that's An-Najm Thaaqib. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. This is precisely, if you guys want to visualize what I saw in my dream, this is it. The only thing was the light emanating from it was much more stronger. And I guess right now, because they're trying to occlude it, that's taking out a lot of it, the sting and the brightness that's emanating from this particular star. And what it had was two other great celestial bodies tailing it, one of which was red and the other one was blue, as it was going past our horizon. And I think that's basically what's going to happen as it goes up and under. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. But when that happens, from what I understood, we experienced a lot of natural disasters. And again, I think this would be the harbinger, as it were, the asbab through which the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ will come into fruition concerning the three great landslides, the one in the west, the one in the east, and the one in the Arabian Peninsula, and the one that seems to be keeping the military in the United States of America quite busy with the military drill that they recently did, which didn't, of course, it didn't make the mainstream media. And why would it, whilst they're trying to hide this phenomena and its potential consequences on the earth? They basically did a military drill called Cascadia Rising. Subhanallah.
The blue tinge, and there's our sun. And they'll show the sun in a second. We'll zoom out of this.
Wow.
Ajib. Subhanallah. There you go. There's our sun. The sun's looking very, very funny. It's not even looking round, to be honest with you. And that again is being seen world over. You know.
Okay, so I think that is it. That's a wrap, unless there was something else that I missed. Okay, let's close that and let's see. Oh yes, then there's this. This guy actually picked this up in the UK, and again, this was on the 30th of August.
Now the reason why it's going down is because Earth is rotating. The rotation of Earth makes it look as if it's going down with the sun, but it's heading towards us, guys. In the morning, it's coming up from behind the sun from the left side and then sweeps round. But really speaking, it's actually between us and the sun. This thing is coming, guys. Google covered it up in 2015 with a black mark on the Google skies of the star system, planets, etc. And people found that out, and that was below the belt with Google. Now, the thing is, I've had YouTube take videos off my channel.
Believe it or not, guys, there's a concerted effort to I guess penalize these channels, and they're making sure that YouTube or Google doesn't pick up these tags concerning this phenomena in their algorithms. And there's a deliberate campaign by trolls, if any one of you are familiar with what they are and how they function, and it seems like they're paid ones. They call them shrills, government shrills, who basically are just paid agents who are out there to ridicule and make a mockery of serious researchers and their work, just so that they can detract people from paying attention to their research and what they're finding. It's certainly very real, because like I said, I've been studying this phenomena since 2007, and for me it started with a leaked image from NASA and a bunch of astronomers called Skywatch, and there was some numbers associated with them, and for some reason or the other, they basically stopped the channel, not just the channel, I guess, the research and the website as well. But that particular image drew me in, and what happened is, after that, I guess my interest in it waned, just like it does with everything else in life, and I kind of it became a memory of the distant past. Then what happened is, I had a dream once I was away, subhanallah, and I actually thought that dream was alluding towards my children, and I kind of left it at that, to be honest with you. But what happened is, 2 years later, the very same image that I saw in my dream, what I saw visually in my dream, is what I saw from one of these researchers, right? A capture from one of these researchers. And that straight away kind of catapulted me back into this, because I knew that there was something more significant to my dream, and it was maybe perhaps alluding to something. And that dream actually happened in around 2009. So 2007, I was away. I was living abroad in the UAE, Arab Emirates. I was actually in Abu Dhabi at that time. Thereafter, the global downturn, and I guess I had to kind of take stock of my situation and come back to the UK. But when I did that, this is during that time, I actually went away again. It was almost like it was a you could call it a spiritual pilgrimage, a religious one, alhamdulillah. And during that time, I had this dream, and then I came back again over here, and then a year or so later, I actually stumbled across this image, which was basically reminiscent of exactly what I saw in my dream. And then I knew that there's certainly more to this than meets the eye, and it kind of catapulted me back into it. And since then, from the research, what came together was the science PDF. And again, the science PDF was something, I mean, I've had very, very interesting dreams. I really don't, to be honest with you, I don't want to talk about them. But let's just say I drew my strength and direction from those dreams, and I wasn't once led to a dead end, subhanAllah. And those dreams, as they continued, I followed the direction they were taking me in and the instinct, and subhanallah, along the way, what's come together is the science PDF and all the research that I've archived on the channel. And again, I just wanted to, and all I've hoped for from this is that I draw the attention of our ulama kiram, our beloved ulama, our scholars, to this phenomena. As I understand it, there is no, at least Muslim researcher researching this topic uh, um, uh, in the same sort of depth that I have. At least I haven't come across anyone as yet. There's certainly a lot of, mashallah, Christian faithful and eschatologists. There's astrophysicists, theoretical physicists. There's astronomers, and then there's researchers, genuine researchers, just like me, who are all studying this phenomena, and it seems to be something very anyway. So I mean, subhanallah, this is the story in a nutshell. Jazakallah khairan wa ahsanul jazaa for your time, guys. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.